Hi guys, I'm sitting here waiting for the chemical smell to clear out. I'm going to continue to start a new series of videos about chemical submission. As I do more research, it's starting to make sense about what I've been through with chemicals with people. I've been researching this whole K-hole thing with ketamine. Ketamine is really big. I think the street is flooded with it. Doctors are using it. If you check out some of my community pages, Matthew Perry died from it. People use it as a recreational drug. I have been roofied a number of times. I was roofied recently at Frog Alley from some of my ex-husband's friends that actually, were pretty belligerent when I was there. So I would like to start doing a couple videos about that. I believe I was also, when I was sexually assaulted at this party with my ex-husband, I can remember now that I'm going through some of the symptoms of this stuff. They call it like a Kundalini K-hole or an NDE or an OBE, which I did have, and I had a near-death experience. I also had one in my home because they were putting chemicals up through the furnace. So be very careful out there. It is a thing. People do this for recreation, but it can be very dangerous, as you can see with the case with Matthew Perry. He did have substance abuse, but people are doing this recreationally, and they're also doing it to people to trap them into situations of prostitution, of rape, of trafficking, of sexual assault. It's a very powerful way to incapacitate someone. So they can't move. You have a lot of pain in your joints. You can't move. You have different symptoms from it. You can gain weight, as you can see with Matthew Perry. There's been other symptoms. You kind of can forget the event that happened. I can remember when I was sexually assaulted, it took a few months later when I went on a job interview that the pieces started fitting back together. So I'll talk more about that because what it did is it triggered old trauma from when I was a child, which made it even worse. Which is why I went dead weight. I couldn't feel my body from the neck down. So we'll talk more about those kinds of things with this K-hole. It can be very dangerous to give somebody these kind of drugs without their consent. These psychedelics, these sort of rape drugs. So we'll talk more about how these people are using these kinds of things to incapacitate people. So some of that fits in with, this chemical submission of having it put like through the furnace. These guys were having parties, the tenants in my home, and trashing the downstairs. They were putting it in through the furnace. They were putting it in under the sink, as you can see there. I'm just giving you a quick shot of the sink. Oftentimes you have these old sinks and there's holes, and so you can easily feed chemicals up through there. The whole place would smell like urine. I would wake up in the middle of the night gasping for air. The fire department was there. So there were reports made of the vandalism that was going on. But this is the kind of stuff that goes on, and we'll need, I will talk more about that as we go on. I don't want to do it tonight. It is Christmas. But we're finding more and more of these cases where, because it does immobilize you, it happened in Maine also, and you can't walk, your ankles swell up. On me, my ankles swelled up, there was other symptoms. So we'll get more into talking about that, but be safe out there because this is what's going on. And it usually revolves around heat, whether, not getting heat or chemical smells. And again, I think it's an adjunct to this whole roofie thing. It's not just your drink. There can be other ways of, people putting them in through the door, and, with your water or your food, and other different ways. So we'll get into more talking about some of this with the chemical submission, especially with the big case that's coming with the conviction for the rapist coming out of France. So more people are going to be talking about this. Be safe out there, guys. God bless.